Hey everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with another episode of Your Turn, and I'm sure you guys already noticed that your turns are kind of slowing down a little bit. This is intentional. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to get away from like these weekly news cap, drama, gossip stuff, and kind of making Your Turn more of like a once every 2 weeks, so we can just gather more important stuff every time, and it'll give us more time to also kind of explore some new ideas that we would like to do.
So we're not bombarding you guys with the news.
Yeah, and
just
bombarding
like weekly recap of
the weekly recap of whatever Nintendo just said the last time Nintendo said the thing that happened last time.
But they actually said it this time. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. We're not doing that. But we're going to take the last 2 weeks and kind of recap stuff that we find interesting. Most of this time it happened this week. There wasn't much of anything that happened the week prior, but that kind of helped out. We were able to get another casket talk out. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And there's going to be more casket talks in the future. Being able to talk about evergreen stuff again feels good. It really does feel good. So, this time on Your Turn, we're going to cover just a couple of things. Obviously, some small thing called the Video Game Awards.
It's not a big deal.
No big deal. It's just a couple weirdo, pretentious announcements and stuff. Whatever.
I'm curious what's gonna happen this year. Like, there's always something weird that pops up.
I almost feel like Jeff Kiley and Phil Spencer just gonna come around and just talk about Xbox the entire time. Like Phil Spencer's gonna be like, "I am so glad I am just here. I am gamer, yes." And people are like, "Oh my God, Phil Spencer!" Like it's gonna happen.
I hope that one kid shows up again. What's his name? This guy, yeah.
Post editing magic right there. But there isn't that many nominations per like category this year.
Yeah.
Like, last time it usually was like what 6 to
10
8 to 10
usually,
maybe.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like there was a lot more games that came out this year.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot more like really heavy like hitting games, like just in general. Even if you're not a fan of them.
Usually they grab like stuff from, what is it? If it's not AAA, they would grab a AA, or they would grab like indies too and mash it until they have like 10 up there. Now it's like 6 per category.
Yeah, about
there's much categories, but
there's like 5 to 6 per category, which is actually significantly smaller when you think about them collectively. But Nintendo collectively really walked out with a lot than you usually expect Nintendo to have.
Yeah.
They had a lot of nominations between Mario and Zelda collectively, but they did get a lot of. They got two nominations for strategy, which was both Fire Emblem and Advance Wars, which sucks because Advance Wars should have been on last year's. Now they got to compete with one another.
True.
And there isn't. I think it's going to be Fire Emblem that wins, namely because the competition doesn't seem all that exciting, and on top of that, people are way too thirsty for Fire Emblem characters, even when it's like toothpaste Aleer. Like, let's be real. So, what's your thoughts on the whole overall of the nominations and stuff like that?
I'm surprised there's no Starfield. That's like the number one thing. I'm so shocked. No Starfield and no Call of Duty. So yeah, I'm surprised.
So I'm not as much surprised about the Call of Duty one, because I feel like a lot of people were starting to scrutinize Call of Duty just constantly coming up every year.
Yeah.
That they're like, we should just stop. And Microsoft's like, yeah, you're right.
But they make a shit ton of money, like.
It does. Well, regardless, it does. But yeah, I think they were trying to avoid, like, hey, Microsoft, they're onto us. They're saying that you're paying us. He's like, oh, what if we just take out Call of Duty? Okay, fair. I think that's the case. Oddly enough, what was funny was I heard more about Starfield's drama than anything of the other stuff, and like other interesting things. Like Cyberpunk 77 was broken to hell, right? Mm-hmm. I still heard more about the things you can do in Cyberpunk 2077 than the bugs. But I only heard about the drama around Starfield. I haven't really heard about much of anything else.
Well, Cyberpunk, it was like a flip of the coin, because you either liked it or it it killed your dog. Like,
well, the thing is, people were talking about it. That was my point.
Oh, okay.
Like, Starfield, the people who loved it aren't talking about it as much. The only ones who are talking about it are the ones who think Mario should have never had a nomination, whereas Starfield should, just for the sake that Starfield's somehow bigger and more important for society, apparently.
I like Starfield. It was fun.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like this one guy was even disingenuous. They had one where he was like playing the platforms with an easy level, but he was like slogging through it, and he's like, this is fun compared to, and it shows him shooting some stuff and like multiple scenes of him just shooting bugs, I guess. I'm like, so you took a lot of scenes of you shooting bug aliens? Is that what it was? Like, was there not any I was like, this only tells me they don't have that many alien like models, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was not a smart comparison, my guy. You know?
Crap, what was that space game?
Yeah, that space game.
I keep forgetting. But yeah.
No.
Hello Games, we're sorry. I don't know. It's like it's good. I think everybody also had the expectations of Skyrim, and then it kind of like fell flat.
Well,
on
people
space.
wanted to have space Skyrim, basically. That's all it was. And I think what happened was Starfield, for as big as it is, has a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking about, and I'm not saying big as in like, you know, impact big as in like it's a huge release and it has a lot of money. I'm talking about a game that has over 140 gigabytes of your retail space. You know, like that is a huge fucking game. It has a whole lot of nothing. And I think that's one that I'm hearing a lot about more than any other trauma, is that, dude, there's not much out there. And like, some people are like, yeah, but that's supposed to be how you feel about Starfield, is because space is vast and empty. I'm like, so is apparently 98 gigs of my space that you're taking up.
Well,
like, this isn't right, man.
Another thing too is that like the way it's randomized, there's always you always encounter something because of the way it's built. Because you can't just be like, you can't just fly to a planet and there's absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, you'll come across a space station, a ship will land, and then you take off because there's no vehicles. And that's kind of like the same formula, I guess, if you don't follow the story mission. So
Right.
But it's basically Fallout 4 without the post-apocalyptic paint.
Gross.
So
no, honestly, from my perspective and just from a distance, I think it looks like a slower, more empty version of the Outer Rim or something like that. The
the
Outer
Outer
Rim.
Worlds.
Outer World, not Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is an indie game.
No, it's the Outer Wilds.
Oh, that's the Outer Wilds. Yeah,
Outer World is.
Man, we all need to sit down a lot of these game developers. But no, the one that was made by Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outer World.
Outer World. Yes. So that one looks like a more meatier version of Starfield.
Yeah.
And that game was released 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. So like that and just from that, I'm like, that kills my momentum for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just, and this is me looking at it more objectively, just let's see what these guys are doing. And you see a lot of just walking.
You shoot some things.
Walking. Saw that thing shoot, and then you walk in. I'm like, dude, I played the Outer Worlds, and I can tell you right now, half of that time I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I think I disturbed some space dogs. I'm gonna need to run away right now. You know, and that's the part that gets me kind of sad about that game. And I'm not trying to bash it. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more better, but even from what I'm hearing, that Todd was kind of embarrassed by it and stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, and they're hearing that Todd wanted to kind of quit on a magnum opus. And they were kind of hoping for that. Now I can't guarantee that was the case.
Skyrim 6. We promise it'll be good.
Yeah.
Or
honestly,
Elder Scrolls 6, I should say.
What's going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6 is that if it's going to be this weirdly pseudo pretentious nonsense of we just did the medieval times way better now. You know what I mean?
Well, the weird thing is that like after Skyrim, everything else after that feels very weird. I don't know how else to explain it, but it doesn't have that charm that Skyrim and back had. Everything but after Skyrim feels very weird. I don't know how else to explain it.
How many other things have they done after Skyrim?
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 happened after Skyrim?
Yeah.
Where the hell was I?
Fallout 4 was like, I think it was
What time frame? What? I swore it. So that was. I thought that they were flipped.
Nah.
Oh wow.
It was Skyrim and then Fallout 4. And Fallout 4 was like, it's good, but it's not great. And then
it just like had this slow decline.
Yeah, Outer Worlds too. Everybody was like, oh, it's gonna be great because, you know, we got Skyrim again and we got Fallout New Vegas, and then everybody just kind of forgot about it. Like this, like and again, it's good, but it's not great. Mm-hmm. And now we have Starfield. I like it, but yeah, it's good, but it's not great. And maybe we just can't outdo Skyrim, but it has a certain charm.
Well, even then, like, I think that's another problem is people keep going, it has to beat XYZ.
Twice as good?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people are comparing a lot of stuff to something that's not even in their same genre, you know? Like Metroid Prime 4 should be better than Halo 3. They're not even the same genre, dude. They're just both first person.
What it also brings me back to Ocarina of Time. But there is a lot of that. It brings me back to Ocarina of Time. Because like anything else that came out after Ocarina of Time, they're like, oh, but it's not Ocarina of Time. Now we have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like, oh shit, you guys better outdo yourself for this next one.
Well, the thing is, even then, that's the problem, is like Nintendo can release an adventure game. Just an adventure game that's more like puzzles and solving and stuff like that. They're going to be like, well, it better be better than Zelda. I'm like, bitch, it's not even Zelda. You know, like that's the point I'm trying to make here. Yeah. It's like they compare they take a very broad brush for comparisons. Yeah. And it's getting really bad. Like, you shouldn't be comparing Outer Worlds to Skyrim, even though they have some of the developers and stuff like that, because they're not gonna. They might have similar mechanics, but doing that will always give you expectations to a certain flavor at that point, even though both flavors would be great.
But they advertised that way, and now they're stuck with it. On top of that, even if you switch genres, because like even New Vegas and Skyrim has that Bethesda charm to it, and then anything else after that feels very weird. So, but anyways, Game Awards, yeah,
Game Awards, not Fashion Bethesda, but you know I'm really good at that too. But yeah, more nominations, like the best game for impact.
Fuck that category.
The only one that should have that is like basically Honkai and Genshin. Just the two right there. We use the word impact. That qualifies. It's like fine.
Basically participation trophies.
It's basically a participation. Basically, the way it's discussed is basically, did this game make you feel emotions? I'm like, yeah, I was pooping. You know, like I was like, I'm just sitting there like, man, this game makes me feel relaxed. Like, really, like...
Makes me want to watch paint dry.
Soothing.
And then the other one was adaptations. Fuck adaptations. Basically, it's just...
Mario's going to win that one anyway. Because everything else... Did you see the other options?
Yeah.
They're just horrible. All of them. Castlevania Nocturne's on that. That just tells you how low of a fucking bar that one is. Like, just right fucking down here. Like, I can't even teabag that low. And I'm a goblin. I'm already lower than most people can teabag. Like, I can't go that low.
So, it's just the Mario Movie Award. Right?
It's basically, it's basically the Mario Movie Award. And basically, Zelda was almost in all of them. Like, from art direction to music to everything. Like, Legend of Zelda was in all of them. Mario was in a good portion of them. There was the Fire Emblem stuff. So Nintendo, as every individual video game releaser, you know, publisher and stuff, pardon me, Nintendo got the most. Period. Right? The most nominations collectively. right?
Yeah.
That's something to say about Nintendo's fucking repertoire, too. You know?
Yeah.
Like, love them or hate them, there's a reason why a lot of companies would do a lot of dark shit to be just like Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. If Sony could just release a Mario every year, they would do it. If they could just release Legend of Dragoon every year and sell like Mario, they would just never let go of Legend of Dragoon. Let's be real here. If Namco could release Little Nightmares every year and just make millions, they would have an annual Little Nightmares game. You know? Same with Silent Hill. Same with like any other company does not have something that they could slap a face on and be like, it's good. Even Capcom, I think the closest one that's out there is probably like Capcom with Mega Man and Sega with Sonic. And even then, Sonic doesn't sell that well.
Yeah.
If Sega could make, and Sega says they want to make Sonic a huge franchise. Hell, Sonic's not even popular in their own homeland for Sega. It's Hatsune Miku, which isn't even a Sega franchise.
Yeah.
Like, there's a subgenre of Vocaloid that is used for a game called Project Diva, and they basically have their own rendition and characterization of Hatsune Miku. Technically, that character is a game character, but her origins are still Vocaloid.
Yeah.
Which is just a program.
Because the arcades, by the way.
Yeah, that's where most of it comes from, right? And Sega, like, and that's what's popular in Japan, right? Not Sonic. And Sonic's popular in Europe and North America for Sega, and not even that popular. If Sega can just release a Sonic every year to just sell like Mario, they would do it. Let's be perfectly honest. Every single person would do that.
Nah, you want live services.
You know? And, like, it baffles the mind where a lot of people can just trash Nintendo, like, oh, they don't do... Yeah, but every company would kill to have that fucking power.
Yeah.
Everyone. So we've got to props to Nintendo regardless of the situation you stand on it. You know?
could just make good games, you know? Kind of crazy.
Just make games people want to keep around and play again. You know, like, that's, like, there's a reason why there's games like Ikaruga, which is only 4 levels, and people still play it to this day because how difficult that game is. But the people who do enjoy it want to play it over and over and over again. Like, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why people love and keep Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is one of the biggest indies that doesn't get that many used games because everybody who buys a Shovel Knight game keeps it. Same with Shantae. But I think there's a reason for it because it's also from boutique publishers like Limited Run.
Yeah.
So there's also a little
thank God for
hazy
indies.
situation. So yeah, indies, dude. We hop up on the indie train all the time here. Like, we really do.
Indie World?
Yep, Indie World. Segue. Because I completely forgot that was our segue. But Nintendo did a Nintendo Direct thing called Indie World this week, and it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. There was a lot of interesting concepts that you came out and like, oh yeah, that's neat. The aforementioned Shantae was probably the biggest announcement. They finally got to revisit the advanced game. If it wasn't for limited run games, Shantae would not get that return. They're making a physical version of it for the Game Boy Advance. I'm picking that up because I think it would be really cool. And then they're also releasing it on the Switch and probably future games too. Like, I'm not worried about it, right? But yeah, more Shantae. That was probably one of the biggest things. Was there anything on the Indie World that you saw that was worth noting?
The Outer Wilds.
Right? The Outer Wilds!
Not really to the Outer Worlds, yeah. No, that looks pretty cool. Another space game.
The better Starfield. You know what's funny is I think it was actually last year's nomination for most anticipated indie or something like that. So technically the Outer Wilds has more nominations than Starfield.
You guys made it, right?
But yeah, there's that. It's getting a physical too. They did announce that because I actually watched the whole thing. I tried doing a reaction to it, a live reaction to it. I couldn't get the mics to work that day.
Oh,
I don't know why. It just I was doing a whole thing and I was trying to hit a playback and none of it worked. Pain. But well, there was also what was it, Blade Chimera?
Yeah,
Dude
that
has
was pretty
like
good.
dude has some kind of like demon sword thing that turns into like weird holographic platforms and stuff. Looks pretty neat. Other than that, the indie world didn't really like. It was not all that great.
Yeah.
Like, but it wasn't bad. It was just like, ooh, that's neat.
Well, I mean,
guess that's neat.
it's like it's already out, so it's not like world exclusive stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, get it now. They're out now. So
Yeah, a good portion of them are, in various forms and various platforms. Outside that, going back to the old Nintendo thing, so that's after the indie world, we're going to do another segue. Nintendo has worked with Namco just recently and announced 2 studios. What is it called? Project Studio S and Project Studio 2, or they're called just Studio 2. I guess. I don't know. So Studio 2 and S are exclusively designed for Nintendo game development.
interesting.
Very interesting. What do you think that entails?
I don't know. I mean, the S could be Super Mario. The S could be Xenosaga. It could be Super Donkey Kong. I don't know any other games that start with the S. It's not important.
Meanwhile, Splatoon is literally right there. Like, what the fuck? Super Splatoon? No, you know what this tells me? Fucking Sony is losing themselves in Japan.
Ha! Right.
Like, no, seriously, think about it. A lot of these developers, Namco, Sega, Capcom, Tecmo, before they were merged with Koei, Falcom is also a very good one that I talk about, Square Enix. All of these dudes basically bailed out on Nintendo to work with Sony. And a lot of them still got like this hard-on for Sony development and stuff. They're like, oh, well, our graphics and stuff like that. And it's coming to a head that they're looking at their finances on what the hell is going on.
Well, that's the thing though, it's like we'll censor your shit. We'll censor your shit if you develop on our platform, and then people won't buy it.
Well, it's not even that. Like, not even that. Even games that don't even require censorship, like Armored Core, development for it is so high that in order for them to break even, they have to sell like 12 million copies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, how are they supposed to? That's an over exaggeration. I have to make a note of that so people are like, it's only like several million copies though.
Yeah.
Right. And Armored Core is really hard franchise to sell right now. How are you supposed to do that? But looking at that, and then looking at PS5 and looking at the future of PS6 and stuff like that, it's gonna even double in price again.
Yeah.
And people are gonna want your Armored Core games to really push those graphical barriers. And I don't even think they even push the 4 to its limits. What makes you think that people are gonna afford to even push the PS5 to its limits, let alone do anything with the 6? Like, that's the reason why we've talked about it before. Indies are running circles around these giant behemoths because they can't do that. So they're probably looking at stuff, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of ports, a lot of remakes, a lot of work with Nintendo. That's the whole reason why Super Mario RPG even came to be from Square. Like, all right, here's some ports of Dragon Quest games. Here's some ports of this. Here's some ports of that. Hey, you know what? That Unicorn Overlord game, we're going to push it out. We're going to see what it's like on Nintendo. Nintendo also gets several of the Tokyo RPG Factory games before anyone else does. Because it sells there first,
Overhead's really, really cheap.
Yeah, like, and honestly, some of those games, as basic as they are, sell. Hell, most of Kemco's RPG catalog, the whole fucking catalog from the iOS Apple Store, is on Switch. A fraction of that is on any of the other systems. The only other one that beats Switch is PC. That's it.
Okay.
But the whole damn near catalog is on Switch. Hell, half of them are already physical in some form. I got one right here with the Alphadia series, you know, and like it's baffling that a lot of people are like, Nintendo needs to push this. A lot of these developers are like, how about no? Because they're making money off of this now. Imagine being Falcom, for instance. Falcom is just a Sony darling. Like, they cannot say anything bad about Sony, even now. Imagine being so hurt by the way Sony handles stuff and how bad your market's being abandoned by this, like, niche market. This niche market isn't there for Sony anymore. Like, it's brand. Everybody buys stuff to buy brand shit, you know? So the market that used to be there isn't there anymore. And Falcom's like, what's going on? It wasn't for it until Nippon Ichi Software was like, what if we start porting games for you? And ported some to Switch, and then they started seeing the revenue come in. They're like, what the hell? Now they have their own internal studio developing. This is the first time Falcom has had one since the Super Nintendo. Another non-Sony development kit in their studio. That's fucking huge.
Wow, holy shit.
You know, ever since the PlayStation and they transitioned to the PlayStation, they just stayed with Sony the entire way through. And PlayStation 1 and 2, huge niche market, a huge weeaboo market, huge, like, anime as fuck market. Like, just everyone was devouring all that, right? Then it was PS3 and the PS4 and the PS5 all became brand, buy us, we're cool, brand, buy us, we're cool. So all the people who buy them want to buy Fortnites and Call of Duties and stuff. They don't want to buy anime bullshit, quote unquote. You know, they want to, and Falcom's starting to feel that burn. And that's huge, you know? And I think that sign with Namco literally developing not one, but two studios into internally for Nintendo game development. That's pretty big. They're like saying, we're going to devote efforts to make money off just Nintendo systems. Like, that's basically what they're saying. And that is wild. Now, I don't think that a lot of the games that develop for Nintendo systems will stay on Nintendo systems unless Nintendo's personally involved by either like their franchises or they're developing for, or like Nintendo has their teams on it and stuff too. So there's games they'll probably release, like they'll probably do just knocking out there, a Bat and Katos 3, right? Developed from the ground up for the Switch, and if it was all their team, they could probably port that over. And that's probably going to happen. But I think the development is solely focused to do that first, which I think is honestly a smarter way to do it. This reach out and focus on one system and then drag it across when you're finally done with the one system, because multi-development is just garbage. Just genuinely fucking garbage. But, yeah. But I think there's one other thing that kind of came up on that, though. So, Project Studio S has another job application. They're looking to hire somebody who's familiar with action games of the side view variety. I don't know what type of game that would involve action except for fighting and maybe some platforms. But we don't know. Maybe no. Maybe it's just something. I don't know.
Super Monkey Ball Fighters.
Yeah, exactly. Super Monkey Fighters. Super Ape Escape.
I wish. Sony has contempt for their IPs.
So, but no, that's great, dude. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past them that Capcom might have a small team like that too, developing for Switch stuff too. So, and Capcom has said that they have huge announcements. Who knows? It might be another Mega Man game. Imagine it being like exclusive to the Switch, timed exclusive.
Nah, it'll be a Resident Evil remake.
Yeah, it probably will. No, let's be real here. Watch, it won't even be a Resident Evil. It'll be like a Monster Hunter 1 remake.
Actually, I wouldn't.
Wait a minute, that sounds amazing. Hold up a moment. Back the fuck up. But no, so I don't know. We'll see what that goes on. We'll react to that. So we're gonna go ahead and stop here because I don't need to be ranting anymore.
So anyway, Starfield. Yeah.
So, I'd like to thank you all for listening to our content. If you like our content, feel free to like, subscribe, and share our videos anywhere you would like. And, as always,
We will see you on the other side.
Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.